Sawadee and welcome to the ASEAN Challenge, the news updates that are going around your ASEAN bloc, both in English and in Thai. I'm Alisa Sithiwong ค่ะขอต้อนรับคุณผู้ชมทุกท่านเข้าสู่รายการ ASEAN Challenge ค่ะข่าวสารรอบอาเซียนของเราทั้งภาษาอังกฤษและภาษาไทยค่ะในช่วงแรกของเรานะคะ ASEAN Around Us will begin off with the ASEAN Around Us topic, taking a look at some of the news updates or what's going around in Cambodia. Now, Cambodia just recently celebrated a big national and Buddhist holiday, which is considered as one of the biggest holidays in the country itself. That was the Festival of the Dead, or Pushumban, and in which that was a festival in which a lot of people celebrate, and the whole country marks this occasion. Now, there's a lot of things that are going on in Cambodia overall, with the election coming up next year, and as well as the opposition party leader being accused of treason with support from the United States against the current government. Now, on a lighter note, however, this festival here, the Festival of the Dead, as we can see, just reached its last day on Wednesday, September 20th. Now, what they normally do here is, since it's a Buddhist and national holiday, most businesses in the area are closed, except for some tourist locations, of course, so that's something you need to prepare for if you plan to go to Cambodia, which the Festival of the Dead falls on different dates of the Gregorian calendar. However, normally it will fall within September itself. So the Festival of the Dead is a festival in which people come out to pay respects to their ancestors and those that have passed away. Now, as we can see at the moment here, this is the last day of the Festival of the Dead, in which Cambodians come together, which was Wednesday, September 20th, in order to offer food and prayers to the spirits of family members and friends who have passed away. They go to different pagodas and temples during this time, and you can see that temples around the festival period tend to be quite crowded. As we saw earlier in the footage, of course, buffaloes are decorated during the last day, as we can see here now, very beautifully decorated. It's more of a festive event in some sense, while people go and in order to watch horses and buffalo races going on. And they also put rice into the monks' alms bowls and to lay various dishes on the floor for the monks to eat, actions which they believe will be able to reach the souls of the deceased. So as we can see at the moment now, this is putting rice into the monks' bowls. Now, every year people come from far and wide in order to visit various pagodas, especially the popular ones. For example, over here, Sar from the for the 2-week-long festival, which normally occurs or ends on the 15th day of the 10th month of the Khmer calendar, and they hope for lots of luck and prosperity from the event as well. The Festival of the Dead honors ancestors. It has taken on an added significance since the fall of the Khmer Rouge, a regime that killed about a third of the population. Now, as many as 2.2 million people were executed or died of torture, starvation, or exhaustion during the Khmer Rouge's murderous bid to create a peasant utopia from 75 to 1979. Now, however, the respects for the dead or the ancestors nowadays has become something slightly more light. It's not as a harsh or a mellow or a saddened event. It's more of a festive event now in order to pay respect to their ancestors and those who had passed away. Some of the activities that are included in the festival, which of course officially this year came from the 19th to the 21st, what the Cambodian citizens, Buddhist citizens, will do is they will wake up early in the morning and they will make food and desserts, and they will prepare fruits, and it will be very beautifully laid out, in which they will go in order to give alms and to donate to monks, which they believe that if they do not make merit during this time of the year, then of course their ancestors will not be able to receive it, and they believe that their ancestors or the ghost of the dead will come back and haunt them for the rest of the year. So during this time as well, you can see lots of citizens and people going to their hometowns in order to meet up with fellow relatives and friends. They'll go to temples in order to listen to prayers and in order to make merit as well. People tend to dress in beautiful traditional costumes, especially on the last day of the Festival of the Dead, in order to make it a very lively event that goes on here. So for those of you who plan to visit Pachum Ban or the Festival of the Dead, then of course it is a very nice thing to see, a nice experience of course, but do note that it is a national holiday and a Buddhist holiday, so most businesses will be closed except for some tourist areas. So that's something for you to take note of, just in case you want to go and visit the Festival of the Dead. เอาละค่ะในช่วงแรกนะคะเรามาดูกันที่ ASEAN Around Us ค่ะมากันที่ประเทศกัมพูชากันบ้างอย่างที่เราเห็นในจอในขณะนี้นะคะนี่ก็คือเทศกาลแห่งความตายของทางกัมพูชานั่นเองหรือว่าประชุมแบนนะคะซึ่งทางกัมพูชานั่นเองค่ะก็จะถือว่าเทศกาลนี้เป็นการให้หรือว่าอุทิศให้กับวิญญาณของญาติพี่น้องและบรรพบุรุษของตัวเองนั่นเองนะคะซึ่งชาวพุทธศาสนิกชนของชาวกัมพูชาทั่วประเทศก็จะมารวมตัวกันนำอาหารขนมแล้วก็เครื่องดื่มตลอดจนถึงสุราออกมาวางไว้ตามข้างทางเพื่ออุทิศให้กับวิญญาณแล้วก็ญาติพี่น้องของตัวเองบรรพบุรุษทั้งหลายที่ได้ล่วงลับไปแล้วนะคะเทศกาลแห่งความตายนี่นะคะก็จะเริ่มตั้งแต่แรม1ค่ำเดือน10ถึงแรม15ค่ำเดือน10ของทุกปีก็จะเป็นประมาณเดือนนี้ของทุกปีนะคะก็ตกกับวันไหนก็แล้วแต่ปีมันจะไม่ค่อยเหมือนกันเท่าไหร่นะคะในปีนี้ก็จะตกตั้งแต่วันที่19จนถึงวันที่21เพราะฉะนั้นนะคะทางกัมพูชาก็เพิ่งผ่านพ้นไปในส่วนของFestival of the Dead หรือว่าเทศกาลแห่งความตายในส่วนกิจกรรมต่างๆที่เราสามารถที่จะเห็นได้ในช่วงเทศกาลนี้นะคะก็จะเป็นการออกมาตักบาตรนะคะในยามเช้าก็จะเป็นการเตรียมอาหารผลไม้ของหวานนะคะเพราะว่าทางคนกัมพูชาก็เชื่อว่าถ้าหากไม่ทำบุญในช่วงนี้นะคะบรรพบุรุษก็จะไม่ได้รับไปในช่วงนี้นะคะแล้วในส่วนของใครที่ไม่ได้ทำบุญในช่วงนี้ก็ถือว่าวิญญาณเนี่ยจะมาหลอกหลอนกันตลอดปีเราจะสามารถเห็นคนกัมพูชาในช่วงนี้นะคะแต่งตัวอย่างสวยงามด้วยชุดพื้นเมืองของตัวเองนะคะส่วนใหญ่ก็จะเป็นผ้าไหมนั่นเองช่วงนี้นะคะก็จะถือว่าเป็นเทศกาลหรือว่าเป็นวันหยุดของชาติเลยทีเดียวเพราะฉะนั้นถ้าใครคิดที่จะไปกัมพูชาในช่วงนี้ก็อาจจะต้องเตรียมพร้อมนิดนึงนะคะเพราะว่าธุรกิจต่างๆอาจจะปิดในช่วงนี้แต่ว่านอกจากธุรกิจในแหล่งท่องเที่ยวอาจจะเปิดแต่ว่าส่วนใหญ่ก็จะปิดนะคะอันนี้ก็คือเหตุการณ์ที่กำลังเกิดขึ้นหรือว่าเพิ่งผ่านพ้นไปในประเทศกัมพูชานั่นเอง Alright, so that was the Festival of the Dead and the ASEAN Around Us point. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back soon. เดี๋ยวพักกันสักครู่ค่ะWelcome back. You're watching the ASEAN Challenge and on to some news updates or the highlights on the ASEAN hot issues. Starting off with some news updates from Indonesia. Now, a situation occurred in Bali, Indonesia, with nearly 50,000 residents in Bali having to evacuate amid fears among Mount Agung, in which could erupt immediately. Now, there has been warning around the situation and in which the volcano could erupt at any time. Indonesia's National Disaster Mitigation Agency has warned citizens on September 25th. While Indonesian authorities have raced to evacuate those living in the danger zone, the news prompted several countries to issue travel warnings. This includes Australia and as well as New Zealand, Singapore, the United States and the UK has issued advisories, and at the weekend they also warned that increasing volcanic activity around Mount Agung in eastern Bali could disrupt flights at one of the world's most popular tourist destinations. Indonesian authorities have imposed a 12-kilometer or 7.5-mile exclusion zone around the crater and urged the public to remain calm. Indonesia, which sits on the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, has nearly 130 active volcanoes, more than any other country. Many Indonesians live near volcanoes because lava flows can make the surrounding soil and land fertile for farming. Now, as for Mount Agung itself, approximately, we can say 50-ish years ago, the last eruption of the volcano, in which during that time there was a loss of lives of 1,100 people. So of course now, since the 22nd of September, there has been a warning issued out in order for citizens to be aware, and in which also the authorities have imposed an exclusion zone, which is about 12 kilometers or 7.5 miles around the crater of the volcano itself. So for those of you who plan to travel to Indonesia, or especially Bali, as it is a popular tourist destination, of course, you will of course have to be very aware of this situation. You should check with your local advisories or tourist destinations in order to know about the situation going on in the area. Hopefully it will not erupt. Hopefully there will be no damages. But however, we will have to keep updated with the situation further on to see how it goes. มาดูกันในส่วนข่าวแรกของ ASEAN Hot Issue ค่ะมากันที่ประเทศอินโดนีเซียกันบ้างนะคะหมู่เกาะบาหลีนั่นเองค่ะซึ่งถือว่าเป็นแหล่งท่องเที่ยวสำคัญของประเทศอินโดนีเซียนะคะขณะนี้นะคะประชาชนกว่า 50,000 คนก็ได้อพยพหนีการปะทุของภูเขาไฟอากุงบนเกาะบาหลีนั่นเองค่ะก็ถือว่าเป็นแหล่งท่องเที่ยวที่หลายคนไม่ว่าจะเป็นต่างชาติหรือว่าจะเป็นคนท้องถิ่นเองไปท่องเที่ยวกันนะคะซึ่งทางอินโดนีเซียเนี่ยค่ะก็ได้ยกระดับคำเตือนถึงขั้นสูงสุดเมื่อวันศุกร์ที่22 กันยายนที่ผ่านมาหลังจากที่พบการสั่นสะเทือนของภูเขาไฟดังกล่าวนั่นเองค่ะโดยระเบิดภูเขาไฟอังกุงครั้งสุดท้ายนะคะเกิดขึ้นเมื่อปี 2506 ฆ่าชีวิตไปกว่า 1,100 ศพค่ะอย่างไรก็ตามก็ต้องติดตามดูนะคะว่าสถานการณ์จะเป็นอย่างไรกันต่อไปสำหรับใครที่วางแผนจะไปเที่ยวบาหลีนะคะก็ต้องติดตามข่าวสารกันอย่างให้ดีๆเลยค่ะAlright, moving into some news updates now from the US, in which in relation to the Rohingya crisis going on in Myanmar. Now, the US is pressing Suu Kyi, Myanmar military, over the Rohingya issue and in order for them to resolve the issue as soon as possible. The United States is worried about the tragedies in Myanmar affecting Rohingya Muslims, and US authorities are pressuring the government under the leader of Aung San Suu Kyi and Myanmar's military in order to stop the crackdown. This was said by the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, on Thursday, September 21st. Not only have we pressed the military, Haley has told reporters that. Referring to Suu Kyi, she said U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Joseph Dunford was calling the head of Myanmar's military to say this cannot continue. Now, as we can see at the moment in the footage, she is making a speech on the situation and addressing in terms of the situation and how Aung San Suu Kyi needs to stop or needs to mitigate the situation as soon as possible in order to not have any further effects on the economy and as well as the transfer of power to Aung San Suu Kyi's party. So that's the situation going on at the moment. The Rohingya crisis is still ongoing. It has not been mitigated, and we can see several hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims trying to flee over to Bangladesh. Now, Bangladesh also has said that they have not been able to, let's say, accept all of the Rohingya migrants which are flooding into the country at the moment now. So that's a situation ongoing. Loss of lives have been seen, and in which there seems to be that these people, the Muslims, Rohingya Muslims, have no place to go. So that's a situation in which the United States is urging Aung San Suu Kyi to mitigate as soon as possible. มาดูกันในส่วนข่าวที่2ค่ะเกี่ยวข้องกับชาวโรฮิงญาในรัฐยะไข่นะคะทางสหรัฐอเมริกาค่ะรัฐบาลวอชิงตันก็ได้เดินหน้ากดดันทางการทูตให้การทางเมียนมาค่ะเร่งแก้ไขสถานการณ์ในรัฐยะไข่ที่ยังเชื่อมโยงถึงผู้ลี้ภัยชาวโรฮิงญากว่า 420,000 คนในบังกลาเทศนั่นเองค่ะทางนิกกี้ฮาเลนะคะทูตสหรัฐประจำสหประชาชาติก็ได้บอกให้นางองซานซูจีแล้วก็ทางทหารของเมียนมานะคะแก้ไขสถานการณ์อย่างเร่งด่วนเพื่อที่จะเป็นการรับผิดชอบของการเมียนมานะคะเพื่อยุติสถานการณ์ให้รวดเร็วที่สุดจะได้ไม่ส่งผลต่อเศรษฐกิจแล้วก็กระบวนการถ่ายโอนอำนาจทางการเมืองไปมากกว่านี้นั่นเองค่ะก็เป็นสถานการณ์ที่ค่อนข้างที่จะเร่งด่วนพอสมควรนะคะชาวโรฮิงญาก็พยายามที่จะลี้ภัยเข้าบังกลาเทศกว่า 420,000 คนแล้วปัจจุบันบังกลาเทศก็ไม่สามารถที่จะรับไหวในจำนวนคนที่พยายามลี้ภัยเข้าบังกลาเทศนั่นเองค่ะก็ต้องติดตามกันดูนะคะว่าทางสหรัฐจะสามารถกดดันทางเมียนมาได้มากน้อยขนาดไหนค่ะ We'll just have to keep updated and to see if the U.S. is going to be able to pressure Myanmar and Aung San Suu Kyi further in order to mitigate the situation sooner. เอาละค่ะไปต่อกันที่ข่าวที่เกี่ยวข้องกับโรฮิงญานะคะ Moving on to some news updates in relations to the Rohingya situation. Moving on to some news about Bangladesh itself, in which is a country in which most of the Rohingya migrants have been fleeing to. As mentioned, almost 500,000 people from the new lot of Rohingya migrants in which are trying to go into Bangladesh. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on Thursday, September 21st, has made a plea for Rohingya refugees who have poured into her country by the hundreds of thousands since August 25th, when the attacks by Rohingya militants on security posts triggered a Myanmar army military offensive. Now, Rohingya refugees are unable to return to Myanmar, partly because authorities are laying landmines along their stretch of the border in order to prevent Rohingyas from returning. The Myanmar side has also said that if they want to return, they're going to have to be able to prove citizenship, which most of these people do not have citizenship, of course. Now we see here that they're also laying landmines along the stretch of the border as well. Hasina has told international community at the 72nd United Nations General Assembly in New York about the situation. She also met up with Donald Trump during the meeting as well. However, she is pleading and urging that there is an immediate solution to the Rohingya crisis. She also laid out a plan for the UN to guarantee a safe and dignified return to Myanmar of the 800,000 Rohingyas in Bangladesh. So therefore, there's currently a lot of Rohingya Muslims already in Bangladesh, and several hundred thousands more that are currently trying to flee in as well. Buddhist majority Myanmar denies ethnic cleansing, saying its security forces are tackling Rohingya terrorists. Now, in terms of the UN itself, they say that what's going on in Myanmar is a classic textbook case of ethnic cleansing. But however, the Buddhist majority Myanmar has denied these claims whatsoever. มาดูกันต่อในข่าวที่เกี่ยวข้องกับชาวโรฮิงญานะคะมากันที่ประเทศบังกลาเทศกันบ้างค่ะซึ่งทางนายกรัฐมนตรีของบังกลาเทศนะคะก็ได้กล่าวต่อสมัชชาใหญ่สหประชาชาติขอให้มีการกำหนดเขตปลอดภัยในรัฐยะไข่ของเมียนมาเพื่อปกป้องชาวโรฮิงญานั่นเองค่ะในขณะนี้นะคะนอกเหนือจากปัจจุบันที่มีกว่า 800,000 คนในบังกลาเทศแล้วก็ยังมีชาวโรฮิงญาอีกประมาณเกือบ 500,000 คนที่พยายามจะเข้าประเทศอยู่ในขณะนี้นะคะทางบังกลาเทศก็ไม่สามารถที่จะรับมือกับหรือว่ารับไหวกับจำนวนคนที่เข้ามาอย่างหนาแน่นเลยทีเดียวค่ะอย่างไรก็ตามนะคะนายซอเตทางโฆษกรัฐบาลของเมียนมาก็กล่าวเมื่อสัปดาห์ที่แล้วเช่นเดียวกันค่ะว่าไม่มีนโยบายกำหนดพื้นที่ในบริเวณใดบริเวณหนึ่งในรัฐยะไข่เป็นเขตปลอดภัยก็ถือว่าเป็นการกลัวว่าจะมีการยึดครองตัวแทนระหว่างประเทศนั่นเองค่ะทั้งนี้นะคะเหตุการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นก็มีความรุนแรงระลอกใหม่เกิดขึ้นเมื่อวันที่25สิงหาคมที่ผ่านมาค่ะก็เป็นเหตุให้ผู้เสียชีวิตมากกว่า400คนแล้วก็อย่างที่ได้กล่าวไปเมื่อสักครู่นี้ค่ะก็มีผู้ลี้ภัยไปยังบังกลาเทศเพิ่มเติมอีกกว่า 420,000 คนก็เป็นจำนวนผู้ลี้ภัยชาวโรฮิงญาในบังกลาเทศมากกว่า 800,000 คนแล้วในปัจจุบันค่ะ Moving on to some other news updates now, going to Manila, Philippines, in which thousands have rallied in Manila in order to warn of Duterte dictatorship. Now, we did recently see in this protest here thousands of Filipinos, which they had rallied on Thursday, September 21st, in order to denounce Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, saying that he himself is a dictator and all he does to solve problems is to kill. They have warned of what they called an emerging dictatorship in a major show of dissent against the controversial but hugely popular leader known for his bloody war on drugs. Now, since Duterte has taken office, we have seen a lot of bloody war on drugs, and several people have lost their lives in the going situation of trying to stop or eradicate drugs within the country. Now, the indigenous people, priests, businessmen, and activists were holding signs during the protests, so thousands of them gathered together in order to protest. And these signs had writing on it translated to "Stop the killings" and "No to martial rule," reflecting fears that Duterte would one day deliver on his threat to declare nationwide military rule like that imposed by late dictator Ferdinand Marcos. They're saying that Duterte at the moment is becoming more and more like Ferdinand Marcos, which is something that, of course, they do not want. The rallies were marked the 45th anniversary of the start of the era, remembered by many Filipinos as brutal and oppressive as well. So you can see on screen at the moment thousands of Filipinos gathered together in order to protest, stop the killings, as we can see at the moment, both English signs and, of course, signs in local language in Filipino as well. So we can see that there were different types of activities going on, performances, mocking, and so forth. There was some burnings of effigies, including one resembling a Rubik's Cube, which bore both his face, a lapdog, Marcos, and that of late Nazi leader Adolf Hitler as well. At their peak, two major protest sites in Manila swelled to more than 20,000, organizers have said. So we can see at the moment this is a mock-up of various situations and plays and things in order to tell people about why they're not happy with what Duterte is doing at the moment now. People have been interviewed in it, and they said that they find that he is becoming more and more like Ferdinand Marcos, and dictatorship is what is starting to happen in the area. ไปกันต่อที่ข่าวที่4ค่ะไปกันที่ประเทศฟิลิปปินส์กันบ้างค่ะอย่างที่เห็นกันในขณะนี้นะคะอันนี้ก็คือการประท้วงที่เกิดขึ้นในฟิลิปปินส์ซึ่งทางประชาชนหลายพันคนนะคะก็ได้รวมตัวกันในกรุงมะนิลานั่นเองค่ะเพื่อประท้วงทางประธานาธิบดีโรดริโก ดูเตเต้ด้วยข้อกล่าวหาว่าเขามีแนวโน้มจะเป็นเผด็จการเหมือนมาโกสเข้าไปทุกทีแล้วค่ะอย่างที่เราเห็นกันขณะนี้นะคะอันนี้ก็เป็นการเผาสัญลักษณ์อันหนึ่งนะคะซึ่งเป็น Rubik's Cube หรือว่าเป็นสี่เหลี่ยมนี้นะคะก็จะมีหน้าของดูเตเต้มีหน้าของ Lapdog นะคะแล้วก็มีหน้าของNazi leader Adolf Hitler ด้วยก็เป็นการแสดงถึงความไม่พอใจนะคะอย่างที่เราเห็นกันขณะนี้นะคะก็จะมีหน้าต่างๆซึ่งแสดงถึงความไม่พอใจของชาวฟิลิปปินส์นั่นเองเราจะเห็นป้ายต่างๆนะคะในส่วนของคนที่มาชุมนุมมาประท้วงในครั้งนี้ป้ายขนาดใหญ่มีข้อความที่เขียนว่าหยุดฆ่านะคะป้ายอื่นๆก็จะมีเขียนว่า Marcos Duterte ไม่ต่างกันดีแต่ฆ่านั่นเองเราก็จะเห็นกิจกรรมต่างๆนะคะมีทางผู้จัดงานกลุ่มหนึ่งค่ะก็ได้บอกว่ามีอยู่ช่วงหนึ่งในมะนิลานะคะชาวฟิลิปปินส์ที่ออกมาประท้วงนะคะมาถึงกว่า 20,000 คนเลยด้วยซ้ำเพราะฉะนั้นไม่ใช่แค่หลายพันคนแต่ว่าเป็นหลักหมื่นเลยทีเดียวนะคะก็ต้องติดตามดูกันว่าทางรัฐบาลฟิลิปปินส์เนี่ยจะทำอย่างไรกันต่อไปค่ะ We'll just have to keep you updated on this and see how the Filipino authorities deal with the situation. Now moving on to some news updates in Taiwan now, in which migrant workers in Taiwan has protest police shooting of a Vietnamese migrant worker.The situation that occurred was that the police was shooting a Vietnamese migrant worker and subsequently alleged of the Vietnamese migrant worker was alleged of withholding medical treatment incited protests in Taipei on Friday, September 15th. Now, this person who was a factory worker was shot 9 times by police in the Hsinchu County after he was chased for car theft, according to the local media. So this was all caught on camera.And the Vietnamese, which was shot by the authorities, the authorities told the ambulance and medical staff not to come near the Vietnamese man because the Vietnamese migrant worker, whose name is Nguyen Ngoc Phi, was not caught yet at the moment. So they had to catch him, put him in handcuffs, and then was allowed to go onto the ambulance. However, he had lost his life. Of course, he passed away before arriving at the hospital himself. There was a footage of this. There was a footage of the ambulance that was dispatched to the scene in order to show officers standing next to the wounded without administering medical treatment. They left without the migrant worker in order to rush a lightly wounded government worker to a nearby hospital. So 2 ambulances were in the scene, of course, and what happened was they took care of the authority, which was lightly wounded, and then afterwards, after they finally caught the Vietnamese migrant worker, put him in handcuffs, and that's when they were allowed to leave in a second ambulance afterwards. Now, however, responding to pressure by immigrant worker right groups, Taiwan's Control Yuan has launched an investigation into the case. So we can see that this situation has created a lot of dissatisfaction amongst people, and people are not happy about the situation going on. Human rights groups and various other groups are protesting the situation that has occurred. มาดูกันต่อในข่าว5ค่ะไปกันที่ประเทศไต้หวันกันบ้างค่ะซึ่งทางไต้หวันนะคะก็มีเหตุที่เกิดขึ้นทำให้มีการประท้วงเกิดขึ้นเช่นเดียวกันค่ะทางแรงงานไต้หวันรวมตัวกันประท้วงในกรณีที่เจ้าหน้าที่ตำรวจและพยาบาลในไต้หวันนะคะปล่อยให้ชาวเวียดนามรายหนึ่งได้เสียชีวิตต่อหน้าต่อตาโดยที่ไม่คิดที่จะให้ความช่วยเหลือเลยทีเดียวค่ะเหตุการณ์นี้นะคะเกิดขึ้นเมื่อวันที่31สิงหาคมที่ผ่านมาค่ะซึ่งได้มีรายงานจาก BBC ออกมาค่ะว่ามีภาพเหตุการณ์ดังกล่าวค่ะก็จะมีตำรวจนะคะซึ่งได้บอกกับทางเจ้าหน้าที่แพทย์จากรถพยาบาลว่าไม่ต้องเข้าไปช่วยเหลือนายเหวียนควอกฟีค่ะซึ่งถูกยิงโดยเจ้าหน้าที่ตำรวจนะคะก็นอนจมเลือดอยู่ทีเดียวโดยให้เหตุผลว่ายังไม่ได้จับกลุ่มหลังจากนั้นนะคะเจ้าหน้าที่ก็ยืนนิ่งนะคะไม่ได้มีการเข้าไปช่วยเหลือใดๆทั้งสิ้นแต่ไปพยุงเจ้าหน้าที่ที่รัฐนะคะเจ้าหน้าที่รัฐที่บาดเจ็บเพียงเล็กน้อยเพื่อขึ้นรถพยาบาลคันแรกเวลาต่อมาค่ะนายเหวียนก็ถูกจับกุมใส่กุญแจมือแล้วก็ถูกส่งขึ้นรถพยาบาลคันที่2นะคะแต่ว่าพอไปถึงโรงพยาบาลก็ได้ประกาศว่านายเหวียนเสียชีวิตแล้วหลังจากที่เกิดเหตุการณ์ดังกล่าวนะคะก็ได้ทำให้ผู้คนกลุ่มสิทธิมนุษยชนต่างๆค่ะก็พากันมาประท้วงแสดงความไม่พอใจในเหตุการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นก็ต้องติดตามดูนะคะว่าสถานการณ์ดังกล่าวเนี่ยนะคะจะมีผลกระทบยังไงกับทางประเทศไต้หวันต่อไปก็ต้องติดตามดูกันค่ะ We'll keep you updated on the situation of course And welcome back to the program and on to ASEAN calendar. We'll take a look at some of the event highlights going around our ASEAN bloc this week. October 1st, International Day of Older Persons 2017. The theme of the International Day of Older Persons 2017 is Stepping into the Future, tapping the talents, contributions, and participation of older persons in society. This year's day is about enabling and expanding the contributions of older people in their families, communities, and societies at large. It focuses on the pathways that support full and effective participation in old age, in accordance with old persons' basic rights, needs, and preferences. This year's theme underscores the link between tapping the talents and contributions of older persons and achieving the implementation of the 2030 Agenda and the Madrid International Plan of Action on Aging, which is currently undergoing its third review and appraisal process. Between 2015 and 2030, the target date for the Sustainable Development Goals, the number of older persons worldwide is set to increase by 56%. From 901 million to more than 1.4 billion. By 2030, the number of people aged 60 and above will exceed that of young people aged 15 to 24. Stepping into the future with pledges that no one will be left behind, it is starkly evident that the need to tap into the often overlooked and underappreciated contributions of older persons is not only essential to older persons' well-being, but to imperative for sustainable development processes. The 2017 theme will explore effective means of promoting and strengthening the participation of older persons in various aspects of social, cultural, economic, civic, and political life. October 4th, the Moon Festival. The Chinese Moon Festival usually takes place on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, in September or October. The Mid-Autumn Festival is held in honor of the moon goddess, which is believed to have been born on this date. However, the historical fact about the origin of the festival is still unclear. Some say that the great Han Dynasty Emperor Wu Di initiated a 3-day celebration to worship the autumn moon. However, many argue that the festival in fact originated around 1368 during the Mongols' domination of China. The cake was made to hide a secret message of the rebellion to tell people across the country of a large gathering during the 8th lunar month. The Mongol army was not aware of the rebellious purpose. They thought that the cakes were an old tradition. They thus were defeated at night. After a new dynasty named Ming was set up, the practice has been carried on till these days. Besides these historical facts, there are also many myths and legends. One of these is that of Sieng Ngo, some say Chang Yi. Sieng Ngo was very beautiful. She was the wife of a high-ranking Chinese officer. After taking a magic medicine, she flew up to the moon and lived there. She later became immortal after consuming the immortal water given to her by a certain goddess in heaven. Sieng Ngo, the moon goddess, was said to be very kind. When the cultivation season arrived, she would pour immortal water to the earth, and this brought prosperity to all farmers. To express their gratitude to the moon goddess, farmers thus made knom go, or sweet meat, from rice flour as an offering to her on the full moon night of the 8th lunar month. Since Chinese festivals usually involve special delicacies to be given as offerings, on this occasion mooncake is specially made as an offering. This Chinese delicacy is, however, hardly a cake in the Western sense of the world. In Thailand, the art of Chinese-style cake was brought to the country by Chinese immigrants almost 100 years ago. The original Chinese mooncake included in such ingredients as red beans, 5 types of Chinese nuts, and ground lotus seeds, and so on. Thailand has its own variations of including durian, chestnut, and persimmon. Additional ingredients may include lotus seeds, salted egg yolk, and watermelon seeds. It is to be noted that the ceremony is usually conducted by women, as people believe that the moon is uniquely associated with female deity. Thus, powder and cosmetics are also offered with the hope of bringing beauty and beautiful skin to the entire female family members. Whatever the scientific progress may be, it will never make an impact on traditional beliefs and festivals, which have been passed on from generation to generation. October 5th, end of the Buddhist Lent Day. The end of the Buddhist Lent, or Rains Retreat, means the expiry of 3 months' retreat through rigorous practice of the rules of the monks' discipline by the monks in a fixed residence during the 3 months of the rainy season, which begins roughly from the middle of July to middle of October. Pansa goes back to the time of Lord Buddha. In Origin of Pansa, it tells us that at the start of the rainy season in India, which more or less corresponds with that in Thailand, the time of year when farmers have been busy plowing and planting, some farmers once complained to Lord Buddha that the wandering monks are trampling crops and ruining them. On hearing this, the Buddha made a rule that during the rains the monks must remain within their abode, or vihan, and stop traveling far and wide. They have to take a vow to enter the rains retreat on the first day of the new moon of the 8th lunar month until the end of the full moon day of the 11th lunar calendar. The day immediately after the Buddhist Lent is known as Pali, or Pavarana, or Maha Pavarana Day. On this day, the monks must perform Pavarana. Paravana is a special ceremony for the monks in which each monk has to allow other monks to criticize him with merciful intention concerning what they have seen, listened to, or doubted about his behavior. The Pavarana Day is celebrated as a holy day for the following reasons. 1. The Buddhist monks have received permission from the Buddha to stay overnight in other places. 2. After the retreat, monks travel in different directions to preach the newly found knowledge and experience to the people. 3. Monks perform Pavarana by allowing other monks to criticize them with merciful intentions in order to cultivate purity, respect, and harmony among the members of the Sangha community. 4. The lay Buddhists can follow and practice the teachings of Pavarana to improve themselves and develop human society. Looking back, it is said that when Buddha entered the rain retreat in Jetavana in Savatthi, monks separated themselves from one another to enter the rains retreat at the temple in July. They were afraid that they might develop differences and would continue to argue during the 3 months retreat. So they set the regulation that they would not converse with one another, but at the end of the retreat they met the Buddha at Jetvana and reported their deeds. The Buddha blamed them for living like a flock of animals and performed the Pavarana, which addressing the monks the Buddha said, O monks, I have allowed you, who have entered the rain's retreat, to perform pavarana in 3 aspects: seeing, listening, and doubting, to perform suitable activity on Pavarana Day. According to this day, the monks perform pavarana instead of listening to the disciples for monks and lay. Buddhists celebrate this day as a holy day. They usually visit temples to make merit, observe the precepts, 5 or 8, and listen to the discourse on Dharma. Thatingyut Festival. The Thatingyut Festival, the lighting festival of Myanmar, is held on the full moon day of the Burmese lunar month of Thatingyut. As a custom, it is held at the end of the Buddhist Lent or Vasa, and is the second most popular festival in Myanmar after the Jan Festival or New Year Water Festival. The Thatingyut Festival is the celebration to welcome the Buddha's descent from heaven after he preached the Abhidhamma to his mother Maya, who was reborn in the heavens. Background story and celebrations. The Jingyut, the 7th month of the Myanmar calendar, is the end of the Buddhist Lent or Vasa. The Jingyut festival lasts for 3 days: the day before the full moon day, and the day after the full moon day. Buddha descends from heaven on the full moon day itself. Buddha's mother Maya died 7 days after Buddha was born, and then she was reborn in the heavens. In order to pay back the gratitude to his mother, Buddha preached Abhidhamma to his mother for 3 Lenten months. When he was descending back to the immortal world, Sakra Devanam Indra, the ruler of the heavens, ordered all the saints and evils to make 3 precious stairways. Those stairways were made of gold, silver, and ruby. The Buddha took the middle one with the ruby. The Nats, or Dava, came along by the right golden stairways, and the Brahmas from the left from the silver stairways. Buddhists celebrate the Jingyut to welcome the Buddha and his disciples by enlightening and festooning the streets, houses, and public buildings with colored electric bulbs or candles which represent those 3 stairways. During the Jingyut festival, there are Zatpuas, or Myanmar musical plays, free movie shows, and stage shows on most of the streets around the country. There are also a lot of food stalls which sell a variety of Myanmar traditional foods, and shops which sells toys, kitchen utensils, and other useful stuff on most of the streets. Sometimes people just walk around those streets just for sightseeing and having fun. Some people like to play with firecrackers and fire balloons. During the festival days, Buddhists usually go to pagodas and monasteries to pay respect to the monks and offer foods. And some Buddhists usually fast on the full moon day. Young people usually pay respect to their parents, teachers, and elderly relatives and offer them some fruits and other gifts. Also, while paying homage, the younger people usually ask for forgiveness from the sins they have caused upon their parents or the other elderly relatives throughout the year. Traditionally, the elders tell their youngsters that they forgive any of their wrongdoings and continue to bless them with good luck and gift some big notes as pocket money. It is also usual for younger siblings to pay homage to their older siblings. In return, the older ones wish good luck for them and give them some pocket money. And those were the colorful events going around our ASEAN block for this week. We're going to take a short break now. We'll be back soon for the ASEAN interview. พักกันสักครู่ค่ะ And welcome back to the program. As always, just like every week, we have an interesting topic for you in the ASEAN interview. กลับเข้าสู่รายการ ASEAN Challenge ค่ะในช่วงนี้ ASEAN Interview ไปดูกันว่ามีเรื่องราวอะไรน่าสนใจกันบ้างค่ะ Chinese Vice Premier Chang Gaoli on Tuesday once again guaranteed his country's readiness to cooperate with ASEAN countries in boosting regional development and prosperity. Chang made the remarks while commencing the 14th China-ASEAN Expo and China-ASEAN Business and Investment Summit in Nanning of South China's Guangxi Shuang Autonomous Region. The Vice Premier also highlighted the substantial collaborative achievements in various fields over the past few years and pinned high hopes on future cooperations with ASEAN countries in such areas as the Belt and Road Initiative. In the coming 5 years, China will import commodities worth $8 trillion and make overseas investment totaling $750 billion. Up to 700 million overseas trips are to be made by Chinese nationals in these 5 years. We welcome ASEAN countries to further share the great opportunities created by China's development, make joint efforts to boost regional development and prosperity, and safeguard and promote stability and growth of the world economy, so as to make new contribution to the world peace and development, said Chang in his keynote speech at the opening ceremony. The Vice Premier described the annual Business and Investment Summit as an important platform serving to enhance political mutual trust as well as to step up trade cooperation and to deepen cultural and people-to-people exchanges. Also addressing the opening ceremony were Sultan Haji Hassanal Bolkiah of Brunei, Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen, Vietnamese Deputy Prime Minister Tuong Hoa Bin, First Deputy Prime Minister of Kazakhstan Askar Mamim, and Deputy Prime Minister of Laos Sonexy Sifandon. Representatives from 5 enterprises engaged in building the Southern Transport Corridor on Tuesday reiterated their determination to create a shorter and more direct trade route between China and Southeast Asia. When completed, the corridor will link up China's Chongqing with Singapore as part of the envisaged overland connection of the Silk Road Economic Belt and the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road, also known as Belt and Road. Symbolic well-wishing lotus flowers were lit and set off at the end of the opening ceremony. As many as 10,000 purchasers are expected to cut their deals with 2,709 exhibitors during the 4-day expo. Chinese Vice Premier Chang Gaoli met leaders of Brunei and Laos in southern China, Nanning City, on Monday, calling for stronger ties between China and the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. Chang welcomed Brunei's Sultan and as well as Laos Deputy Prime Minister to attend the 14th China-ASEAN Expo and the China-ASEAN Business and Investment Summit from Tuesday to Friday in Nanning, capital of Guangxi Shuang Autonomous Region. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the founding of ASEAN, a regional group comprising of Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, as well as the China-ASEAN Year of Tourism. During his meeting with Brunei's Hassanal, Chang in China appreciates Brunei's positive and constructive role in boosting the China-ASEAN relationship over a long time. Brunei is the country of honor at the 14th China-ASEAN Expo. China is willing to work with Brunei to grasp the important opportunity of jointly building the Belt and Road, promoting the synergizing of development strategies of the two countries, deepen practical cooperation in various areas, and consolidate people-to-people exchanges to benefit peoples of the two countries. Hassanal said Brunei is greatly honored to be the country of honor at the China-ASEAN Expo and would like to further strengthen its cooperation with China in such areas as economy and trade, people-to-people exchanges, tourism, energy, ports, and education to make Brunei the gateway for China to approach the ASEAN. During the meeting with the Laos Deputy Premier, Chang and the China-Laos relationship has advanced much this year, especially after Lao President Wong Nang has visited to China in May in order to attend the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation, during which leaders of the two countries reached important consensuses on deepening China-Laos comprehensive strategic cooperation. Chang suggested the two countries continue to promote the synergizing of development strategies, carrying out the deals on Belt and Road construction and production capacity and investment cooperation, strengthen people-to-people exchanges and local cooperation, enrich the essence of the China-Laos Comprehensive Strategic Cooperation and promote the China-Laos relationship to constantly move forward. Laos spoke highly of China's hosting of the China-ASEAN Expo and called on two sides to strengthen practical cooperations in various areas and deepen the Laos-China Comprehensive Strategic Partnership of Cooperation. And that was the ASEAN interview for you and wraps up our program for this week. Stay tuned next week for more news updates and more colorful events. As for today, สวัสดีค่ะ